Let's see, what am I missing here? Oh yeah. Hat, check. Sunglasses, check. Pepsi, check. Notes, check. Sources, check. And thick skin, check. Let's go. Welcome back to Going to Blue Dude, everybody, and all we do here is college football. So if you're a college football fan, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. And as always, feel free to send gear to represent you and your team. Look around. That's what my background is made of. So if you want to be a permanent part of Going to Blue Dude and my background, send gear to represent yourself and your team to P.O. Box 360, Liberty, South Carolina 29657. It goes without saying that I've done a lot of conference realignment, expansion, whatever you want to call it, videos. And most of them was just me exploring possible different scenarios, different avenues, just my take, my opinion. Today's video is not so much. It's some of that, but this is some stuff that I'm actually hearing. Several outside sources telling me this. Even Kuz's Corner did a video on this. I thought he did a great job on this. So y'all go check out his channel, hit the subscribe button. He's got some great videos over there. So I'm hearing this from a lot of people. Here's what I'm talking about. Teams in the ACC that could end up dropping football because they're more focused on academics than they are in football. Now we all know that Jim Phillips has been going around to each campus in the ACC to make sure that they're up to par, up to his standards when it comes to investing into football. He's making sure that the football brand of the ACC gets better, because right now the football brand for the ACC is not good at all. I think they're actually on one of their better years compared to years in the past, but overall not good at all. When Clemson is down, they're not going to make the playoffs. That's basically what we've seen. Last year, Clemson was down. They didn't win the ACC. The ACC didn't make the playoffs. So Clemson has literally put the ACC on its shoulders and has been carrying the ACC. And they're not happy with the payout that they're getting. And can you really blame them? I mean, they're seeing teams like, Boston College, Georgia Tech, even Miami, great brand, but not doing very good, getting the same amount of money because it's equal revenue share, even though they're not having success. So Jim Phillips is going around making sure people are investing money in their football facilities and make sure the ACC football brand stays on par or up to his standards, whatever his standards are. I don't even know what they are. But there are some teams in the ACC that they're just not about football. They like their academics or even basketball. They're into basketball but not football. This is mostly about academics. Three schools really pop in my head, and that's Boston College, Wake Forest, and Duke. Maybe you could add some other teams in there, like maybe a Pitt, I don't know, or a Syracuse, I don't know. But definitely Wake Forest, Boston College, and Duke. And Wake Forest is having success in football, but that's almost irony, because they are not investing in their football program. They just have a really good coach. They're enjoying success because of their coach. And they're still, even after all this success, they are not investing into their football program. They're not really interested in that. So it's like they're having success ironically. I mean, you could kind of say the same thing for Duke. They're having a pretty good year so far this year. But you better believe that they are not investing into their football program. Boston College, they just suck, and they also are not investing into their football program. There could be other teams on this list that I'm not aware of, but those are the three that really pop in my head. And there are some talks that some of these teams are thinking about dropping football, because now the standard is you need to invest a lot of money into your football program. That way you can keep up the standard and keep up to the new ACC standard whenever it comes to football. And these teams are like, no, we don't want to do that. We want to invest money into our academics and maybe basketball, but not football. So what we're seeing here is the possibility of these teams possibly dropping football, and that would open up some spots for other teams to fill those spots in the ACC. Now, granted, the ACC, they could already expand and just add more teams outside of those teams. But that would be a better scenario for the ACC, because you wouldn't be having to split the pie among the teams that aren't interested in football. And you would strengthen the football brand of the ACC. This would be a win-win situation. Now, I don't know how likely this is, but the rumor is these teams are seriously thinking about either dropping college football or splitting off and creating their own Ivy League type of football conference, but without going to the FCS. An important side factor, without going to the FCS. So they wouldn't be in the same conference as like a Harvard, a Yale, or any of the FCS teams. I don't know how that would work out, but that's what I'm hearing. So you're opening up these extra spots for teams outside of the ACC. And I've talked about different scenarios on how West Virginia can join the ACC. This could be a big opportunity for West Virginia to join the ACC. Now, the biggest thing for West Virginia in the Big 12, and I'm not trying to come off as ungrateful. I'm glad that the Big 12 picked us up. I love the fellow Big 12 fan bases. You guys are absolutely awesome. The Big 12 is awesome as a conference in and of itself. But West Virginia does not fit in the Big 12. We just do not. Whether our head coach was Dana Holgerson or Neil Brown, our road games were never any good on the road. Even on the years where we're a good team, it's like we're a completely different football team on the road. And it's because there's a lot of travel. And it wears on even a good team. I think USC and UCLA will figure that out when they join the Big Ten finally. Although for them, it's not going to be as bad as the teams having to come out to LA. But they'll only have to come out to LA maybe once a year or once every other year. Going from west to east is much easier than going east to west. Because going east to west, you're actually losing time. But anyways, travel has been a factor. West Virginia, ever since we joined the Big 12, has not been a good road team at all. And I'm not blaming that entirely on the amount of travel or how far we have to travel. I mean, West Virginia hasn't been that good anyways, but travel has played a part in it. I mean, you look at the 2 road games that we played against ACC teams. The first one against Pitt, yes, we lost the game, but it was very competitive and we had great opportunities to win that football game. Basically, a pick 6 is what lost us the game. And then, of course, the road trip to Virginia Tech, we blasted them 33-10. And I know. Virginia Tech's a really bad team. But still, it shows you that West Virginia isn't just a bad road team. They're a bad road team in the Big 12. So joining the ACC would be awesome. It would be good for West Virginia fans. It would be good for the alumni bases all over the east side of the United States. I live in the upstate of South Carolina, so I would be able to go to way more road games than what I can now. I mean, maybe every single one of them, except maybe if they go to Miami or Boston College or Syracuse. But everything else in between, driving distance, I can go. That's one of the biggest reasons why I want West Virginia to join the ACC. I could actually go to road games again. West Virginia does not fit in the Big 12. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to come off as ungrateful. We just don't fit. That's the bottom line. But who else could the ACC bring in with West Virginia? Well, of course, there's Notre Dame. They're not a full-time football member. You could bring in Notre Dame, and they would bring in a lot of money for the ACC. I mean, Notre Dame in and of itself, you bring in Notre Dame as a full-time football member, and that right there gives the ACC the ability to renegotiate the TV deal. If they can convince Notre Dame to join full-time, that's where they can get their money. But even West Virginia moves the needle because of all those rivalries. And the West Virginia fan base is very loyal to West Virginia. Very loyal. There's some teams in the state of Texas that would be an interesting addition to the ACC as well. You could go after a TCU or a Baylor or both, especially if Notre Dame still turns down the ACC. I mean, think about this. Bringing in West Virginia, TCU, and Baylor, yes, that would give the ACC renegotiating power for that horrible TV deal. 100%, no doubt about it. Baylor, not just in football, in basketball as well. They won a national championship year before last, so let's not forget about that either. Then there's the combo of West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and Baylor. Man, that would be the best combo out of all of them. That would be numero uno. Oklahoma State has some big-time boosters, and those 3 right there would move the needle big time, and the ACC could renegotiate the TV deal. See, the ACC needs to make moves where they can renegotiate the TV deal. That is their prime objective. That is goal number 1. So this would actually be a blessing in disguise if these lower brands would say, hey, yeah, we're dropping football. We're not okay with having to invest in our football program. Yeah, we're having success, but we're not really trying. We're not investing into it. So we're going to drop football, maybe join an FBS Ivy League. So you drop the lower brands like Duke, Wake Forest, and Boston College. And even though Wake Forest and Duke are having success this year, they're still not making money for the ACC. So as good as Wake Forest is, they don't have a big fan base. So they're still not really producing revenue for the ACC. So Boston College, Wake Forest, and Duke drop football. You bring in West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and Baylor. They're at least second-tier teams in the ACC. They might still be under Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, and I guess Virginia as far as revenue. The only reason I'm saying those 4 teams is because those are the 4 teams that the SEC we're interested in. Honestly, I think Virginia Tech or Miami or maybe even an NC State or a Louisville would be higher than Virginia. But just for argument's sake, I'm using those 4. I think Baylor West Virginia, and Oklahoma State would at least be in Tier 2, borderline Tier 1. They'd make a lot of money for the ACC. This would be best case scenario for the ACC, unless they could get Notre Dame. Of course, that would be best case scenario. But not counting Notre Dame, those three teams dropping football, bringing in West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and Baylor, man, that would be a home run move by the ACC. So y'all let me know in the comments section. Number one, do you think these teams actually do end up dropping football for the ACC? I know it really doesn't seem all that likely, but I'm telling you, the rumors are very, very hot right now as far as those teams wanting to drop football. Not that they don't like football, they just don't want to invest in their football. Number two, if they do drop football, do you think that the ACC can get West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Baylor, or maybe West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and TCU? Or do you think that they can actually get Notre Dame to join as a full-time football member? That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.